2 or 3 minutes. Does anyone need to vote still? Voting is about to close. All right. I think we're going to close it in about 1 minute. Oh, do you need to vote? All right, we are about to call this meeting to order. Hi everyone, welcome. I'm so happy to be here in person with you all. I'm Sarita Freak. I chair the board of the Twin City Co-op Partners. Welcome everyone. The last 2 years this meeting has been on Zoom. And my whole sort of presidential intro has been me seeing my own little reflection in a black box. And so seeing people in 3 dimensions is really, really wonderful. So we're all here today because we're here for the co-ops. And co-ops are really about doing business differently. They're about, not just about profit at all costs, profit at the cost of the community, profit at the cost of the environment, profit at the cost of people's well-being. Co-ops are really focused on this idea of a triple bottom line, so people, planet, and profit. And from the beginning, they've been designed around community, around the greater good. And we at the Twin City Co-op Partners are really focused on this mission of building community through a strong local food system. Has anyone here heard the phrase triple bottom line, people, planet, and profit before? A few people? So I'll just mention what that means. Of course, it means that any healthy business needs profit. You need to sort of reinvest, and when the refrigerator is great, you need to reinvest, and every now and then you need to buy a new truck. And then, of course, planet. When we think about sustainability and local agriculture, that's a lot of what drives our relationships with local producers and local farmers. But for me, when I think about the triple bottom line, people, planet, and profit, it's the people part that makes the co-op so special. It's about the kindness and compassion and sort of like just passion that so many people bring into this community. I was at Linden Hills Co-op a little while ago, and I was checking out, and I overheard a conversation in the row behind me. And there was a woman who had checked out, left, and came back in with her receipt. She was a little bit flustered. She came in and she said, I had a buy one, get one free offer, and I was charged for this item that should have been free. And the cashier said, oh, I'm sorry, let me take a look at that receipt. And he looked at it and he said, oh, wait a second, you just checked out. Didn't I ask you if you wanted to use your free offer today? And the customer said, oh, I did, but then I changed my mind. I said I didn't want to use it today, then I changed my mind, I did want to use it today. So the cashier said, oh, you know what, we had a miscommunication. I'll fix it. And the customer said, oh, I actually could have been clearer in the way I communicated. And I always. Like, we're all human, we all have our moments. But generally, I think the staff is incredibly friendly, so knowledgeable, so dedicated to like what the co-op stands for. And you see it in the shoppers up and down the aisles. And so thank you all for being here. Thank you for being part of our co-op community. We have a really fun evening tonight. We're going to hear a lot about how the co-ops are doing. We're going to hear a lot about financial health, our relationships with employees and farmers and vendors, and then we have a really awesome local fest afterwards. I was back there and the goodies look really wonderful. So welcome everyone. I'm going to hand it off to my colleague Christine Page. She is the Vice President of the Twin City Co-op Partners Board of Directors. Thanks everyone.
A year now and have just had a really great experience, but I'm looking forward to more of these in-person opportunities. So my role in this moment is to, according to the bylaws of the co-op, give the dates that we gave proof of notice of the meeting. And those dates are as follows. On the website, we gave proof of notice on August 31st, through email on September 7th, that would have been to the membership, and through our Cultivate mailed newsletter, it was mailed on September 9th to members. And within that, we also shared the candidate information. We have some candidates with us here tonight. So if you're a candidate and you're here, would you mind waving? And we are so grateful for your willingness to step up and want to be a part of the organization. So thank you so much. So with that, I will hand it over to Josh, the CEO. He's going to share a little bit about operations, and then we have a couple other things, and then of course we will be getting to the election results, so I will be back for that too. So thank you.
How's everybody doing tonight? Good. Excellent. So this is the board of directors. So I don't know if you all want to just stand up for a second and so everyone knows who the board is. And we do a tremendous amount for the organization. Really appreciate the numbers. We also have a few potential future board members, a few past board members here. So it's a nice gathering from that standpoint. And I was kind of getting ready for tonight. I realized this is actually my 10th meeting as CEO of the organization. And so time kind of flies. I still remember back to the first one, but it really is, you're going to do this again and again, but it's fantastic to be back here in person. I really love this. It's always one of my favorite nights of the year. And after a 2-year hiatus, great to be back, engaging directly with owners, having conversations. I'm going to get a chance to talk to a lot of you tonight. We've got a lot of amazing vendors here. Such a great chance to talk to them, and they're a key part of what make the co-op what it is. So, encourage you to really take that community element of the co-op and embrace that here tonight. Talk to people you don't know, talk to us, talk to the vendors, and just really get to know others in the community. So tonight, what I'm going to do is, share a little bit about our results, share a little bit about what's going on in each of our business units, talk a little bit about our impact on different stakeholders in the business, and then talk a little bit about our long-range plan. But I was saying before, this is always one of my favorite nights of the year, and it's always that much better when we have good news to share. And Lisa, who is our board treasurer, is going to talk after me. She'll give no more details on the financials, but I just want to share a few headlines. So, first of all, sales this past year was $77.5 million. We were up 3% over the previous year, so that is a new record high for us. Net income this year was $2.6 million, and some of that was from the PPP loan forgiveness, but also we were profitable through operations. So that's always a good place to be. And then another key thing, as a co-op, part of how we measure our success is the number of owners who are active shopping in the business. And our active owner count increased by almost 400 this year to 20,804. We signed up 1,400 new owners, so if you take the number of new owners and factor out those who are no longer owners, net positive of 400. And so we're still a little bit below the peak of where we were pre-COVID, when we were up around 23,000 owners, but we were kind of heading back in the right direction. So I think kind of taking all of this from this page, the headline is very good year for Twin Cities Co-op Partners. in fiscal 22. So now we're going to kind of go beyond the numbers, and I want to walk you through first just kind of what's going on in each of our business units. And ironically, I'm going to start with the business unit that is no longer. So we had 4 business units the last time we were here in person. Now we have 3. And I want to talk a little bit about our Nicollet unit. And one of the biggest events at the co-op in fiscal 22 was the sale of our food operations building on East Street. So we announced last summer of 2021, that we were permanently exiting the commissary and catering business as well as the wedge table. And we kind of determined, it made more sense to bring food production back in-house to do the food production at each of our stores. And I think it's been a very good decision. It's been very good for the business. But admittedly, last year when we announced this, we were putting the building on the market for sale in a real estate market where there was definitely some question marks, a lot of uncertainty. And I'm extremely pleased to announce we sold the building. We sold it relatively quickly, and we got a very fair price for it. It recoups much of our investment in the building. So I think that was one of the best stories of the year, was that we were able to, exit that building, and we'll be able to put that cash towards, back to the business, back to the owners, and reinvesting it back in the business. But I'm also excited, not only did we sell the building, we sold it to Jamie Olson, and she's someone who's doing excellent work in the local food community. So, we talk a lot about building community by developing a strong local food system. We want to partner with people who are also doing that. And she had the restaurant Central up in Northeast Minneapolis. She wanted to expand her business, so it was a perfect partnership. Recently opened Central Kitchen. It's a great use for the former wedge table space on East Street. The space looks fantastic. The food tastes even better, so definitely encourage everyone to check it out. And I think the other piece I want to mention is to make that whole transition work. What was really important was our ability to significantly scale up our food production in-house on our on-site kitchens, both at the Wedge and Linden Hills co-ops. And could not be more pleased with the work of our prep food teams. They really have, through their hard work and innovation, taken to that task and done a really nice job of not just keeping the shelves full, but also doing it in a way that's strong for the business, but also that tastes fantastic. So really good transition from where we were a year ago with that. Next business unit is Co-op Partners Warehouse, and that was probably our strongest performing business unit in fiscal 22. It was a time of change within the business unit. We had a changing of the guard at CPW in February. Tom Ronmeyer, who was 40 plus years of experience in produce and distribution, 20 plus years at CPW, and 18 as the director, retired in February. And I'm extremely grateful for everything he brought to the organization. He really helped shape what CPW is today, and really took it from a true startup to almost a $40 million organization. With that said, we are extremely lucky to have James Collins at the helm at CPW, and he's been with us for 2 years. So we had an opportunity, to have some overlap between the two of them. And he's exactly the skilled visionary leader we need for CPW going forward. And I would say the early results have been really tremendous. We've seen 2 consecutive years of double-digit growth at CPW, and we've improved a lot of our systems. So not just really growing, but we're doing it more profitably and in a way that lends us to growing a lot more in the future. And the way we've been growing has been growing the right way. So we are really focusing on our core business, which is working with co-ops in the upper Midwest. So we sell to about 400 accounts, but the core of our business is other co-ops in the upper Midwest. And by working with small and mid-sized farms and selling more produce. So the history of Co-op Partners was always about produce. We also do some grocery stuff, but really the core of the business has been produce. Where we've doubled down the past couple of years is by selling more produce to more co-ops, which is exactly where we want to be. So, last couple of years have been great results, but I'm even more excited about the runway I see ahead in the next few years. And with some new local farm partnerships we've developed, with some new trucking and logistics relationships, and hopefully a new operating system coming soon, I think CPW is poised for really exponential growth over the next few years. So, really good time to be in that business, and I'm really pleased with what the team is doing there. So next I want to kind of shift gears and talk about our 2 retail business units. And we also had significant personnel changes recently at the Wedge. Starting this July, we moved Doug Peterson into the role of Wedge Store Director. He's fantastic. He's got amazing boots on the ground retail experience, and he's really done a fantastic job stepping into that role. We also, and Doug is here tonight, you had a chance to meet him hopefully, and Dean Schnadelauer has moved back into his longtime role as produce manager. And Dean has 27 years of experience at the Wedge. I don't think anybody knows more about produce than he does in produce retail. He really was largely responsible for making the produce department at the Wedge the signature department and really known throughout town. And it's been fantastic having him back in the helm there at produce. And I would say that with both of them in those new roles, we're seeing some immediate results. So we did, have a 5% decline last year in fiscal 22, and that was a pretty big spike in fiscal 21. So we expected a little bit of a decline. We had a 5% decline in fiscal 22, but in our first quarter of fiscal 23, the fiscal year we're in, we're up 1.5% versus the 5% decline. And just in the past month, we had a 4.5% increase. So I feel like we've got the right people, the right products, and the right promotions, and I'm really excited about the year ahead for the Wedge. One thing I do want to highlight, so the photo here on the right was one of the really great events we had in the past year. We partnered with Fair Trade America, and we hired a local artist, Reggie LaFleur, and he helped create this beautiful mural that's on our Windale side, so kind of facing the street where all the traffic is. And it really celebrates our commitment to fair trade every day. And we kind of debuted it last October during Fair Trade Month, but it is kind of there every day as a reminder of just our commitment to working with fair trade growers in banana and coffee and other things. And we have Eco Exchange, who is a fantastic supporter of fair trade, who's here tonight in the vendor fair. So, thank you. You were there. We met there, right? Thank you. Well, I appreciate you supporting that. It was a great event. Yeah. So the team has done a lot of things, and super grateful for the team at the Wedge and everything they're doing to improve the shopping experience. But I have to say, one of the great changes for our store, and frankly, all of Minneapolis, maybe all of Minnesota, we can't take credit for it. Early this summer, the traffic flow has changed on Windale. And so for about a 6-block stretch, including in front of the Wedge, it went from a road which went from 2 lanes in each direction to 1 lane in each direction. And you kind of scratch your head and say, is that going to be a good thing? But what they did also is they added bike lanes, and they added a left turn lane in the center. And I was definitely skeptical at first, is this really going to work? It's been a game changer. Traffic's flowing much better in front of the store. You no longer face dirty looks or getting honked at when you take a left turn off Windale into the Wedge. It really has been fantastic. So, really excited about this, and this is something I think is going to help the store. Moving to Linden Hills, really good year at Linden Hills, and overall, year over year, sales were basically flat, but we actually were expecting sales to be down a little bit at Linden Hills this past year, and we were over $500,000 ahead of our planned volume. So, big success, nice job by the team. We also continue to get very strong scores in our customer service surveys at Linden Hills. It puts us in the upper tier among co-ops nationally. Really proud of the team and just their real customer service orientation there. We've also made some real significant improvements in our merchandising displays. And at the risk of getting a little too retail geeky on you, I would say the team has done an amazing job with cross-merchandising. And what that means is if we've got an amazing order deal on hummus, what we want to do is right next to that, we want to have a big stack of pita chips, a big stack of carrot sticks. And the team is hitting on all cylinders with that, so each time we've got a display, we've got the right cross-merchandising, and the numbers are really reflecting that in the sales. So we see a nice spike every time we do that. I also want to give a special shout out to the deli at Linden Hills. That was the best performing department vendor or retail one. So we talked about bringing stuff in-house, a lot of logistical challenges with that. They've seen a 15% increase year over year in their sales. Not just doing the food production in-house, but they're really creating amazing product, great displays, and they've done a fantastic job. So real kudos to Lisa and her team at Linden Hills, really doing a great job of creating a positive customer experience at Linden Hills Co-op. So now I want to shift gears from kind of the business unit updates to our stakeholder updates. And in our mission statement, we talk about our stakeholders a lot. And really, stakeholder is a fancy way of saying, who are we in business to serve? And we've identified 4 groups. This is the same as it's been for probably 8 years. Owners and shoppers, 1. employees 2, community 3, and farmers and vendors 4. And so we can talk about numbers, we can talk about other stuff, but I think an important way we measure results is, are we succeeding, are we doing good by each of those 4 groups? So in reporting the results, I want to share a little bit about some of the highlights kind of from a vendor's, or from a stakeholder standpoint, one by one. So first I want to talk about owners and shoppers. And typically I get up here and I share data about what's the number of owners and average sales per owner, total savings that owners received in the past year. And those are really important. And everyone received the annual report. You've got that data, and I'm happy to answer questions about those. But tonight I really want to share a little bit more personal story. There was an owner named Lauren, and she shopped frequently at the Wedge, and I got to know her over the years. And frankly, part of how I got to know her was she was very vocal in providing pretty candid feedback on what we could be doing better. And but she did so because she cared, and she was very loyal. And I would go through the store. We would often have 15-minute, 30-minute conversations, and she would ask me, "Why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that?" And at the end, she would always be like, "But I love you guys," And it was kind of a little bit more cat and mouse game. Anyway, so about a year and a half ago, she told me she was diagnosed with a really advanced form of cancer that was terminal. And I was seeing her in the store less frequently after that, between COVID and her health. She was not seeing her. And this spring, I was kind of reflecting and thinking about Lauren, and thinking it had been about a year since I had seen her, and was kind of thinking the worst. And one day in May, she appeared, and I kind of saw her from a distance, and kind of quickly went over to her, and we sat down and we talked for about 30 minutes, and it was just really moving to kind of reflect on. She was telling stories about her life and stories about the co-op and shopping there, and so it was really great to have a chance to reconnect. So kind of getting to the main part of the story, in July, early July, she left me a message on my voicemail, and I still have it on my machine. And she said she was calling from a quarantine in the hospital, and she said, "No, don't call me back." But she said, I just wanted to call to say your customer service at the Wedge is wonderful. Even when they make a mistake, it's no big deal. I mean, it is a big deal, but, and I was like, wait, she always kind of had like have a little bit of dig. But she said, she finished by saying, I'm just so grateful for everything at the Wedge over the last 20 years. And I knew that was her divine message to me. And sure enough, 3 weeks later, her sister called and informed me that Lauren had passed away. And it was definitely moving experience, and it definitely kind of sat with that after I got the message from her sister, and realized just how much this relationship. Someone I just talked to in the store meant. But I think her taking the time and effort to call from the hospital was a great reminder that we're more than a grocery store. And for many customers and owners, it's not just a place where they go to buy the best produce. It's where they go for a sense of connection and a sense of community. And so, I think that's for me what keeps me going and gets me excited for me to work every day is that impact. And I'm not saying that every single person, is going to have that impact, or that the co-op is going to have that impact on them, but it is something that's true and real. So just wanted to share that story. Next stakeholder group I want to talk about is employees, and a large part of what makes TCCP so special, we talked about, as Serena mentioned, is our incredible staff. We really pride ourselves on employee retention. It's well above industry average. We've got over 30% of employees who have worked at the co-op for over 10 years. About 7.5% have been there for over 20 years. And why do employees stay? I mean, I think in one part, we do have generous pay and benefits. The average hourly employee makes over $20, about $20.35 per hour. I think in part it's an opportunity for engagement, having a voice in the direction of the business through everyday roles, as well as being on like a DEI committee, sustainability committee, helping choose the change matters partners. But I think in part it's the opportunity for real career development. And I love this stat. So I'm really happy to report we had 46 employees at the co-op, or about 15% of staff, who received promotions to a new role this year. And I'll just share a couple examples. Marcos, who got pictured here, has been with the co-op for several years, was assistant grocery buyer. He got promoted. He's running his own sub department, so he runs bread now for the Wedge. Ben, who's here tonight, he's now running IT for all of the company for TCCP. In 2015, Ben made a jump. He was kind of studying outside of work. He was working in the meat and seafood department, did some schooling in IT, got a job in the IT department, got promoted again, and this year got promoted and is heading heading that department now. And then Sally Peterson is another really good example. Sally worked in the juice bar at the Wedge for 7 years, and decided she wanted to try something a little bit different. Made the jump to Co-op Partners Warehouse and is now working in sales. So I think that opportunity for career advancement and really making a career at the co-op is something that makes it pretty unique in a really special place. Community. We've got, so each of you has in your annual report, and this is one of my favorite pages in the annual report. It's a little summary of some of the things that we do in the community. I'll just share a couple stats. Through the generosity of all of you, through our owners, shoppers, and through the generosity of our vendors and our coordination, we donated about $125,000 to Change Matter Partners across 12 organizations this year. We were able, through our home affordability project, to do $277,000 in discounts for people with low income. And we also, through Co-op Partners, donated $380,000 of food. So these are just a few of the ways where we provide support and access to nutritious foods and really make an impact in thousands of homes across the Twin Cities. And then lastly, thank you, the vendors, one of my favorite parts of the job is getting to meet the vendors and meeting the food producers. A lot of people who are coming up with a new food idea, who have an idea, the first place they come is the co-op. That's usually the first place they go to sell their product. And one of my top 5 all-time business meetings was this summer in January. You know, if it's January, it's got to be good. Like it's a top 5 meeting. But Yi Bang and his business partner Marshall invited us to come down to Gray's Food Hall. I went with Rebecca and Gavin from our purchasing team, and he has served us an amazing feast from his Union Monk kitchen. And between mouthfuls of his Tiger Bite sauce, his chili crunch oil, his signature Monk sausage and hill fried chicken, we just heard these incredible stories about his childhood and how he really views his cooking as a way to honor his Monk family and culture through food. And coming out of that meeting, we established an exclusive relationship with them to carry bottled sauces and spice rubs at the co-op. We even took the sauces and we used in the meat department where we've got pre-marinated meats. So we do like a lemongrass scallion, marinated shrimp, and salmon, ready to grill and eat seafood. And those types of things I think are, it's exciting to see that come to life. So the partnerships with Union Monk Kitchen, Alamet Pasta, which we've got a 30% off member deal right now, we'll plug to go to the co-op. Mixed the tortillas. I mean, these are fantastic tasting foods, and I think just a really great way in which we can bring, help raise local businesses, but also help people eat better in the community. So a few stories to share there. So now, I've talked a lot about ways in which we've helped stakeholders in fiscal 22, but as leaders in the co-op, we need to be thinking about the future. We need to be thinking ahead, and how do we ensure we serve the community, not just today, but having a positive impact for years to come. And that's part of my role as CEO, part of the board's role. So to that end, we had a team of staff and board working together on a new long-range plan. And it was probably our most comprehensive planning exercise, in my 10 years in the organization. We started around the beginning of the year. It was a really collaborative, detailed process. And through it, we talked a lot about what do we want to be as an organization in the future, but what are the decisions we need to make today to help us get there. So you can kind of say, hey, I want to be this in 10 years, but what are those things that need to happen today and 3 years out and 5 years out? And I think through that process, it gave us a common language to talk about our future and a shared sense of focus about how to get there. And I won't go through the whole plan. I'm happy to share it with people. I mean, it's we're really proud of the work. But I'll just say a few things. I think, from our mission, and we reaffirm this mission to build community by developing a strong local food system. So that's not new. Our goal, that was our way of creating a tangible, business-related goal that acknowledges, that we really do need to deliver strong business results in order to be able to do those good things that I've reported for our stakeholders, and kind of calling out a very tangible goal for that. And then our strategy, and this is how we uniquely serve our customers, both at retail and at CDW. And simply put, we want to delight our customers, and there are really 3 ways in which we do that. So 1 is through trusted curation of the best local and organic products. 2 is through personalized service. And 3 is through authentic connection to our communities. So that is what we want to deliver every day, both at retail and at the warehouse. And then, our mission, goal, strategy, those will remain unchanged. I would say that our priorities is probably really the priorities for the next 3 years. And the headline on it is, we have ambitious plans for future growth, and I hope we come back in the future and talk about new stores and areas for expansion for CBW to help expand our impact. We're not planning any expansion in the next 3 years. What we're really planning on doing in the next 3 years is setting that foundation for future growth acceleration. So simply put, that means continuing to improve our systems so that we operate efficiently, effectively, and so that we can invest sustainably for a really strong future in the co-op, so that we can continue to provide those benefits for our stakeholders, now and into the future. And the priorities, again, nothing earth-shattering or new. We want to continue to improve our CBW business model, which we have been doing. We want to define and differentiate our retail brands. We want to get consistent sales and profit growth at retail. And frankly, that has not been the case the last couple of years. We want to get to that point. We want to make sure we've got productivity and efficiency initiatives, simply put, taking our systems and making the most out of those so that when there are kind of cost increases, we're doing what we need to offset that. And last but not least, we want to build our team culture and capabilities for growth. So that's kind of in a nutshell what we're looking to do. So I have to say, as I mentioned at the beginning, this is 10 years for me at the co-op, and I truly have enjoyed working with everybody on the team, everybody on the board, the community, and I'm really proud of the efforts of everyone on my team here tonight, and we've got many of them here, and I want to give a quick round of applause to all of them. So I will say, I think as strong as the results were in the past year, I'm even more excited about what lies ahead. I think we've got the foundation here with the LRP, and I'm really excited about what the next 10 years hold. And I'm so proud of TCCP as an organization, and I'm just looking forward to working with all of you on how we continue to build that and how we continue to make an impact in the community. So thank you for being here tonight. And with that, I'll turn it over to Lisa, our treasurer.
I'm just going to have a quick commercial break here. If it were my kids, they'd now be able to just fast forward right through it, but you guys don't have that capability, so bear with me. So yes, thank you, Josh. Such great stories, and it's so great to be a part of this co-op. We know there are many different co-ops. My dad lives in a co-op living facility in Robbinsdale. I was just reading about a co-op brewery in Montana. And here with us tonight, we actually have a special guest visitor. We have the Quilt Shop Co-op. It has been in existence for, it will be 2 years in November. So in the back table, we have Mary Ann, Jill, and Lori. And this is a consumer-owned co-op, so similar to our co-op. And membership is open to everyone, just like us. And they are also members of the Shared Capital Co-op Loan Fund. And if you're interested in what that is, the Shared Capital Cooperative Loan Fund, there's some more information out there on that as well. So thank you so much for joining us. So speaking of different co-ops, we're going to do a quick little exercise, and we do have a prize. I have a gift card to the food building for the winner of this. So if you are able and you are a member of the co-op, this co-op or another co-op, would you mind standing? So it'll be a little stretch break before we get into financials. All right, so everyone who is a member of at least one co-op is standing right now. If you are a member of 2 co-ops, remain standing. Everyone else can sit down. If you are a member of 3 co-ops, remain standing. 4 co-ops, remain standing. Okay, it's getting 4. 5 co-ops. We have 2, 3, 4. Okay, 6 co-ops. All right, 7 co-ops. All right, if you're the last man standing, Tom Pearson on our board, a member of 10 co-ops. That's amazing. I'm not surprised though. If whoever you know anything about co-ops, how they run, bylaw questions, Tom is your guy. So you're the winner. And I don't know, is that in the bylaws that the board member can win? We might have to research that. All right, so next up we'll have Lisa, our treasurer, come and share financials.
Okay. I'm gonna stand over here so you can actually see me. Sarita gave her story about the Linden Hills Co-op. I too have a story. I was in one day, my shoulder was in a sling, and the person who helped me bag my groceries said, I'm gonna take these out to the car for you. And I said, you don't have to do that. And she said, no, I really want to take these out to the car for you. So she took my groceries out, she put them in the trunk, and she said to me, I've been a member of the co-op for a really long time, and now I work here. And she said, it's been so great. The staff is great, I've learned so much. So it was just really, it reinforces how you feel about the co-op, that we are a community. It felt really good. So I'm going to share some quick financials. The in-depth financials are in the annual report, which we have out on the table outside. The balance sheet and the income statement will be in the Cultivate newsletter that you received. So I'm just going to go over some top-line results. But there were two big events this year that you see all throughout the financials. So I just want to give you a heads up to those two things. One is what Josh called the PPP loan. It's a COVID loan that we got from the government that a lot of small businesses got. It stands for Payroll Protection Program Loan. And we loved having that loan. Our finance staff was Johnny on the spot to apply for it, and we got it right away. We did give our staff kind of hazard pay during the initial part of the pandemic. And we lost, everybody thinks about COVID as everybody shopped in the grocery store, so our sales must have been record sales. And some parts were record sales, but nobody was standing in the store buying a burrito or standing in line at the juice bar. The hot bar was shut down. Our deli case, was really pared back. Our salad bar was gone. So there were a lot of lost sales, and that payroll protection program loan really came in handy for smaller businesses. So the government now has forgiven that loan, and that loan went from a liability on our books, $2.7 million, to non-patronage revenue for the co-op. So we now have that $2.7 million as an asset on our books, and you'll see that in the balance sheet. You see it a little bit in the income statement as well. The other piece was, as Josh said, the sale of Nicolette. So the sale of Nicolette went better than we thought. I mean, we're very sad to be not in those businesses anymore, but they were not profitable for us, so we made a very hard decision to move away from those businesses. But you will see the sale of that business as a reduction in liabilities because we no longer have that mortgage on our books anymore. But you will also see a reduction in our property and equipment because we no longer have the building or any of the equipment that we had associated with that. So those are the two big events. There are $2.7 and $3 million events, and those are major changes that you see in the income statement and the balance sheet. So we'll talk just a second here about our sales, our top line sales. As Josh said, our sales hit $77.5 million. That was a record for us, up 3% of over $2 million. But that did come mostly from our warehouse, from CPW. Linden Hills retail was flat, which it was coming off a very high year the year before, so we are very happy with that, and as Josh said, that beat plan. And the wedge was down just about 5%. The wedge has been hit a little bit harder by the pandemic and by kind of civil unrest that we saw after the murder of George Floyd. If you think about where the wedge is, when people were working downtown and all that real estate was full, on their way home they stopped at the wedge. At lunchtime they stopped at the wedge. And now downtown is empty. People are working virtually, and the wedge got a little bit bigger hit from that. The final thing on the sales is I want to talk a little bit about our member specials and our cashback rewards program. That hit almost $800,000 this year, and we take that off of our revenue. So when you look at the financials, you'll see revenue at the top, and then it will say less member discounts. So that's the next line down. I just wanted to point that out. Net income, Josh said our net income was positive this year. We were so thrilled that our net income was positive. But when you see that $2.6 million, most of that is the PPP loan. So we're carrying that now as revenue. It went to our bottom line. And then without the PPP loan, before taxes, we would have been right at about $100,000 positive this year. So we're really pleased that we were in the black, but I just wanted to explain to you when you see that $2.6 million where that's coming from. Our balance sheet is super strong. We're just so pleased with our balance sheet. So the big things that you'll see, assets and liabilities down by $3 million, assets down by $3 million, liabilities down by $3 million. That's the sale of Nicolette. So that's the first thing you're going to see. PPP loan forgiveness, that $2.7 million. And then cash and CDs are up a little bit. Money got moved around a little bit, so we're up about $500,000 in cash and CDs. And then on the equity line in the balance sheet, our C-share owners, we redeemed $290,000 in C-shares. If you don't know what C-shares are, for the consolidation of the Wedge in Linden Hills, the Wedge did an equity, kind of a fundraising thing where we offered C-share ownership in the co-op. And we have been buying that down year after year, little by little, on a first in, first out basis. And this year we reduced it by $290,000. And now this fiscal year 23, the board has approved an additional $500,000 in C-share redemption. If you are among the people that are being redeemed, you may have received your check already. If not, you'll receive it this week. We had, the post office closed on Monday, so it might be a little tiny bit delayed. So that's pretty much it for fiscal year 22. Fiscal year 23, as Josh said, we engaged in a long-range plan. That long-range plan calls for revenue growth at CPW, at the Wedge, and at Linden Hills. And it calls for margin improvement, and so that should improve our bottom line across all those business units. There is capital investment we're going to need for CPW. That investment will make CPW more efficient. It'll allow us to serve more customers, and so it'll improve margins at CPW. We have the continued $500,000 in C-share redemptions, and as Sarita said at the outset, this is a mission-driven business, and so that long-range plan is based on that mission, and we will continue to build the community through a strong local food system. So do I turn it back to you, Christine?
Wonderful, thank you. So before we get to the election results, which I have, but I have not looked at, we're going to do one more activity. I have another gift card. This one is to Hmong Union Kitchen, which Josh talked about. So delicious. So everyone who is a member of either Wedge or Linden Hills, if I could have you stand up again. All right, if you have been a member for longer than a year, keep standing. Longer than 5 years, keep standing. 10 years, keep standing. 15 years, keep standing. 20 years, name. 25 years. 30 years. I know, let's all recognize these amazing long-term members. Okay, but I only have one gift card. So we're gonna have to keep going. 35 years. Was it on day one of the co-op opening? Of when it opened. Okay, so I know what that could be. So 1976. So that would be 46, yeah. And the Wedge opened in 1974. So you said that you joined on the very beginning at Linden Hills, and 1978. So, oh, and in the back, I'm so sorry I didn't see you all in the back.
January 1976, before you opened.
So, you must be our winner then, January, unless, do you know the month that you joined? We can probably find someone who can go back in the records and verify. But it looks like we have our winner back there, so that's great. Thank you. Thank you. You're such a dedicated member. So I got to be a part of the nominations committee this year, and it's a really great committee. It's unique in that we actually invite a member owner to join us, and Phil Bradley is here tonight, and he was that member owner. He's a previous board member as well. Phil, he was so awesome, and he's such a huge part of it. So thank you, Phil, for being a part of that. It's really appreciated. And we also have a staff member who is a part as well. And we had 2 staff members. We had Michael Hodges and James Collins. I see James back there. So thank you so much for being a part of it. And through that, we went through the interview process and came up with the candidate slate that we had. And we had 7 candidates for 5 spots. We had a couple extra spots this year just due to some shifting along the board. And so we will have 5 directors joining us, and I have the results. Josh, can I get you to, let's see, I'm kind of juggling, I don't want to drop. Can you take that? I feel like there should be a drum roll or something. I've never seen it. Okay. The results of the election. So the 5 candidates, well first actually, I'm going to leave you in suspense. Our Change Matters recipient organization that was selected is Tubman. So they will receive the Change Matters proceeds for messaging. Okay, so our 5 candidates who will be going on the board now, actually, I think it kind of is effective immediately. So Emily Anderson, Lisa, Steve Scher, Yoshi, Suzuki Lambda, and Mark Green. So congratulations. Thank you to all of our candidates, and it really meant so much that you would be interested and willing to be a part of the organization. And we have, I know at least 1 or 2 current board members who it took a couple times running, so we would encourage you to run again as well. So with that, I think we're going to go ahead and adjourn the meeting. We are going to do a quick picture of the new board, so if you can meet us in the back. And we're going to open the doors, and you can go back and sample all the amazing vendors who brought their food